I never thought I would be standing in the middle of a school auditorium with 300 pairs of eyes staring at me like I was some kind of criminal. My name is Maya Chen, and I am 26 years old. I have worked harder than most people could ever imagine to get where I am today. But none of that mattered to Principal Victoria Blackwood. She stood on that stage with her perfectly pressed suit and her condescending smile, pointing her manicured finger directly at my daughter Lily. This is exactly what happens when children are raised without proper family values, Principal Blackwood announced into the microphone. Her voice echoed through the auditorium like a slap across my face. When single mothers cannot provide adequate supervision and discipline. I felt my blood run cold. My 7-year-old daughter stood beside me, her small hand trembling in mine. Tears were already streaming down her cherub cheeks. All because she had accidentally spilled paint on another student's project during art class. Mrs. Chen, Principal Blackwood continued, deliberately using the wrong title. She knew I was not married. She had made sure to emphasize that fact multiple times since Lily enrolled in this prestigious private academy 3 months ago. Perhaps if you spent less time working and more time teaching your daughter basic manners, we would not be having this conversation. The other parents in the auditorium shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Some of them whispered behind their hands. I could hear fragments of their gossip floating through the air like poison darts. I heard she got pregnant in college. No father in the picture at all. How did she even afford tuition here? I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell them all that I had built a tech startup from nothing. That I had coded my first app while breastfeeding Lily at 3 in the morning. That I had sacrificed everything, including sleep, including relationships, including my own health, to give my daughter the best life possible. But I stayed silent. I had learned long ago that defending yourself only made things worse with people like Principal Blackwood. Furthermore, the principal said, clearly enjoying her moment of power. I have serious concerns about the influences in young Lily's home environment. I have received reports that Miss Chen here has been seen with, how should I put this, female companions. A collective gasp rippled through the auditorium. My heart stopped beating for a full second. She did not just say that. She did not just out me in front of the entire parent body of Westbrook Academy. Principal Blackwood, I finally found my voice. It came out steadier than I expected. My personal life has absolutely nothing to do with my daughter's behavior at school. And for the record, Lily accidentally knocked over a paint jar. She apologized immediately. The other student's project was barely damaged. Principal Blackwood's smile grew wider. More predatory. Miss Chen, I think we both know this is about more than paint. This is about whether Westbrook Academy is the right environment for your daughter. We have standards here. Traditional values. Perhaps a public school would be more accommodating to your lifestyle choices. Lily tugged on my hand. Mommy, why is the mean lady yelling at us? Did I do something really bad? My heart shattered into a million pieces. I knelt down to my daughter's level right there in front of everyone. I cupped her face in my hands and wiped away her tears with my thumbs. No, baby, I said softly but firmly. You did not do anything wrong. Sometimes adults make mistakes too. Sometimes adults are the ones who need to learn manners. I stood back up and faced Principal Blackwood. The auditorium had gone completely silent. Even the whispers had stopped. We are leaving, I announced. But this conversation is far from over. Principal Blackwood laughed. Actually laughed. Miss Chen, I am not sure who you think you are or what you think you can do about this situation. I have been principal of this academy for 15 years. The board supports me completely. And quite frankly, your threats mean nothing to me. I smiled. For the first time since this nightmare began, I actually smiled. I did not threaten you, Principal Blackwood. I simply stated a fact. This conversation is not over. I picked up Lily and walked out of that auditorium with my head held high. I could feel 300 pairs of eyes burning into my back. I did not care. I had endured worse. I had survived worse. What Principal Blackwood did not know, what none of them knew, was that my life was about to change dramatically. And when it did, she would regret every single word she had spoken today. Because my alpha was coming home. And Victoria Blackwood had no idea what she had just started. I managed to hold myself together until we reached my car. The moment I buckled Lily into her car seat and closed the door, the tears came. Hot, angry, humiliated tears that I had been suppressing for the past 30 minutes. I leaned against the side of my car and let myself cry. Just for a moment. Just long enough to release some of the pressure building in my chest. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. With shaking hands, I pulled it out and looked at the screen. 3 missed calls from the same number. A number I knew by heart even though I had deleted the contact years ago. Samantha Rhodes. My thumb hovered over the callback button. My heart pounded against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Sam and I had met in college. She was 2 years ahead of me, studying business while I focused on computer science. She was confident and bold and absolutely magnetic. The kind of woman who walked into a room and immediately commanded attention. The kind of woman who made me realize that everything I thought I knew about myself was wrong. We dated for 2 years. 2 incredible, terrifying, life-changing years. She was my first love. My first everything. And then she left. She received a job offer in Singapore. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity with an international investment firm. She asked me to come with her. I was pregnant with Lily, though I did not know it yet. I had my own dreams, my own ambitions. I said no. We tried long distance for a few months. Then the calls became less frequent. The texts became shorter. Eventually, we just stopped. I never told her about Lily. By the time I found out I was pregnant from a donation procedure I had done before meeting Sam, it seemed too late. Sam was building her empire on the other side of the world. I was building mine while growing a human inside me. For 7 years, I had convinced myself that I made the right choice. That Lily and I were better off on our own. That we did not need anyone else. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text message. Maya. I know it has been a long time. I am back in the country. I need to see you. Please call me back. It is important. I stared at that message for what felt like hours. In reality, it was probably only a few seconds. Mommy? Lily's voice came from inside the car. Are you okay? I wiped my face quickly and opened the door to slide into the driver's seat. I am fine, sweetheart. Just had something in my eye. Was it tears? Because crying is okay, Mommy. You tell me that all the time. God, this kid. She was too smart for her own good. You are right, baby. Crying is okay. Mommy was just feeling some big feelings. Because of the mean lady? Yes, because of the mean lady. Lily nodded solemnly. I have big feelings about her too. She made my tummy feel twisty. Mine too, sweetheart. Mine too. I started the car and pulled out of the parking lot. As I drove, my mind kept drifting back to that text message. To Sam. Why no? After 7 years of silence, why was she reaching out now? Part of me wanted to ignore it. To pretend the message never came through. My life was complicated enough without adding an ex-girlfriend to the mix. But another part of me, the part that still remembered the way Sam's laugh sounded, the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the way she could make me feel like the most important person in the world with just a look. That part of me wanted to call her back immediately. I dropped Lily off at my mother's house. Mom took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. What happened? She asked as Lily ran inside to play with the cat. Principal Blackwood happened. My mother's expression darkened. She had never liked Victoria Blackwood. From the first parent-teacher conference, Mom had warned me that something was off about that woman. What did she do this time? I told her everything. The auditorium. The public humiliation. The comments about my lifestyle choices. By the time I finished, my mother was practically vibrating with rage. That woman, Mom hissed. That horrible, small-minded woman. Maya, you have to do something about this. I know, Mom. I am thinking. Thinking is not enough. That woman tried to destroy you in front of everyone. She targeted your daughter. She violated your privacy. There have to be laws against this. There are. I just need to figure out my next move. Mom studied my face for a long moment. There is something else. Something you are not telling me. I hesitated. Sam called. My mother's eyes went wide. Samantha? Samantha Rhodes. Yes. After all these years? Yes. Mom sat down heavily on the porch steps. Well, that is certainly unexpected. Tell me about it. Are you going to call her back? I did not answer right away. I watched Lily through the window, playing with my mother's cat, completely oblivious to the chaos swirling around us. I do not know, I finally admitted. I really do not know. I called her back. I told myself I would wait. I told myself I needed time to think, to process, to figure out what I even wanted to say. But that night, after Lily was asleep and I was alone with my thoughts and a glass of wine, I found myself dialing that familiar number. She answered on the second ring. Maya. Her voice was exactly the same. Warm and confident and achingly familiar. You called. You asked me to. There was a pause. In that pause, 7 years of distance stretched between us like an ocean. I did, Sam said. I was not sure you would. Neither was I. Another pause. I could hear her breathing on the other end of the line. I wondered if she could hear mine. How are you? She asked. I laughed. It came out bitter and sharp. Honestly, I have had better days. Tell me. And somehow I did. I told her about Lily, about becoming a mother, about building my company from nothing. I told her about the struggles of being a single parent, about the judgment I faced constantly, about trying to give my daughter a better life, while everyone seemed determined to tear me down. I told her about today, about Principal Blackwood, about being humiliated and outed in front of 300 people. Sam listened without interrupting. When I finally ran out of words, she was quiet for a long moment. What is the name of this school? She asked. Her voice had changed. It was harder now. Colder. Westbrook Academy. Why? And this principal. Victoria Blackwood. Yes. Sam, why are you asking? Because I am going to fix this. I blinked. What? Maya, you have no idea what has happened in the last 7 years. I have built something big. And I am coming back to the States permanently. I am opening the North American headquarters of Rhodes Capital right here in this city. Rhodes Capital. I had heard of it, of course. Everyone in business had. It was one of the largest private investment firms in Asia. I had just never connected it to Sam. That is your company? I asked, stunned. Every bit of it. I started with that job in Singapore and I built it into something more. Something powerful. She paused. I should have called you sooner. I should have called you 1,000 times. But I was scared. Scared that you had moved on. Scared that you hated me for leaving. Scared that too much time had passed. Why no? I whispered. Because I finally realized that no amount of success means anything if I do not have the people I love to share it with. And Maya, I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely think. Sam, I have a daughter now. My life is complicated. I cannot just pick up where we left off. I know. And I am not asking you to. I am asking for a chance. One coffee. One conversation. Let me prove to you that I am not the same person who left. Let me show you that I am ready to stay. I should have said no. I should have protected my heart, protected Lily, protected the life I had built. But I said yes. We met the next day at a small cafe downtown. I saw her before she saw me. She was sitting at a corner table, fidgeting with her coffee cup. She looked different. More polished, more powerful. But when she looked up and our eyes met, she smiled, and suddenly she was the same Sam who had stolen my heart in a college library 8 years ago. Hi, she said as I sat down across from her. Hi. We talked for hours. She told me about Singapore, about building her company, about the lonely nights in hotel rooms when all she could think about was me. I told her about Lily, about the terrifying joy of motherhood, about the ways my life had changed and grown. I want to meet her, Sam said eventually. Your daughter. If you will let me. It is not that simple. I cannot just introduce her to someone who might leave again. Sam reached across the table and took my hand. Her touch sent electricity through my entire body. I am not leaving, Maya. I have spent 7 years building something incredible and now I am ready to use it. I am ready to build a life here. With you if you will have me. And if I say no, then I will respect that. But I will not stop trying to prove myself to you. I will not stop fighting for us. I looked into her eyes. I saw determination. I saw love. I saw the same fire that had drawn me to her all those years ago. One step at a time, I said finally. Lily comes first. Always. I understand. And this thing with the school. I have to handle it on my own. Sam shook her head. No, you do not. Not anymore. You have been fighting alone for too long, Maya. Let me help you. Why? Why does this matter so much to you? Because that woman hurt you. She hurt your daughter. She tried to make you feel small and worthless and alone. And I cannot let that stand. I will not let that stand. I stared at her, seeing something new in her expression. Something fierce and protective. Something that made me feel safer than I had felt in years. What exactly are you planning? I asked. Sam smiled. It was not a kind smile. It was the smile of a predator who had just spotted prey. Let me worry about that. Over the next 2 weeks, Sam proved that she meant every word she had said. She did not push. She did not rush. She simply showed up. She brought Lily books about coding, having learned about my daughter's interest in technology. She sent me flowers at work with notes that made me laugh out loud in the middle of important meetings. She texted me good morning every single day without fail. And quietly, without telling me the details, she began investigating Westbrook Academy. You're different, my mother observed one Sunday afternoon. Lily was in the backyard, and Mom and I were watching her through the kitchen window. What do you mean? Lighter. Happier. You have not looked this relaxed in years. I tried to hide my smile behind my coffee cup. I do not know what you are talking about. Samantha came by yesterday. While you were at work. I nearly choked. What? She wanted to introduce herself properly. To ask my permission to pursue you. Mom, this is not the 1800s. I know. That is what I told her. But I appreciated the gesture. Mom turned to look at me. She is serious about you, Maya. Anyone can see that. I know. And Lily likes her. She does. So, what is holding you back? I set down my coffee cup and sighed. Fear. 7 years is a long time. People change. Feelings change. What if we try again and it falls apart? Lily is attached now. I cannot let her get hurt. You cannot protect her from everything, sweetheart. And you cannot protect yourself either. Sometimes you have to take the leap and trust that someone will catch you. Before I could respond, my phone rang. It was Sam. I need you to come to my office, she said without preamble. I found something. I arrived at Rhodes' Capital headquarters an hour later. The building was stunning, all glass and steel and modern architecture. Sam met me in the lobby and led me to a private conference room on the top floor. What is this about? I asked. Sam closed the door and turned to face me. Her expression was serious. I had my team look into Victoria Blackwood. Her history, her finances, her connections. Sam, I told you I wanted to handle this on my own. I know. But please, just listen. She handed me a folder. Inside were documents, emails, financial records. Victoria Blackwood has been embezzling from Westbrook Academy for the past 5 years, Sam said. She has been skimming money from various school funds, falsifying expense reports, and funneling the cash into offshore accounts. I stared at the documents in disbelief. How did you find this? I know people. And I have resources that most people do not. This is huge. That is not all. Sam pulled out another document. She has been targeting specific families for years. Families that she considers undesirable. Single mothers, LGBTQ parents, anyone who does not fit her narrow definition of acceptable. She finds reasons to push them out, to make their lives miserable until they leave voluntarily. My hands were shaking. Why has no one done anything about this? Because she is careful. Because she has connections on the board. Because the families she targets are usually too vulnerable to fight back. They leave, and she moves on to her next victim. I set the folder down on the table. My mind was racing. What are we going to do with this information? Sam moved closer to me. She took my hands in hers. That is up to you. This is your fight, Maya. I am just here to give you the weapons. You decide how to use them. I looked into her eyes. You did all of this for me? I would do anything for you. I know I do not deserve your trust. Not after I left. But I am trying to prove that I can be the partner you need. The partner you deserve. Something shifted inside me. Something that had been locked away for 7 years finally cracked open. Sam. Yes. I think I am ready. Ready for what? I leaned forward and kissed her. It was soft and tentative at first, a question rather than a statement. But when she kissed me back, when her arms wrapped around me and pulled me close, it became an answer. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. I missed you, I whispered. So much. I missed you too. More than you will ever know. We stood there for a long moment, foreheads pressed together, breathing each other in. So, Sam said eventually, "What do you want to do about Principal Blackwood?" I smiled. It was the same kind of smile Sam had given me at the cafe. Predatory. Determined. I want to destroy her. We spent the next week planning. Every detail had to be perfect. Victoria Blackwood had spent 15 years building her empire at Westbrook Academy, and we needed to tear it down methodically. Sam brought in lawyers, forensic accountants, and a communications team. I focused on gathering stories from other families who had been targeted by Blackwood over the years. It was not hard to find them. Once word got out that someone was finally standing up to the principal, parents came forward in droves. There was Maria Santos, a single mother who had been forced to withdraw her twin boys after Blackwood accused them of cheating without any evidence. There was David and Michael Park, a married couple whose daughter had been systematically bullied by teachers after Blackwood made comments about their unnatural family structure. There was Jasmine Williams, whose son had a learning disability that Blackwood refused to accommodate, calling him lazy and unfocused. Story after story. Family after family. All with the same pattern. Blackwood identifying a target, finding an excuse to attack them, and then making their lives unbearable until they gave up and left. "This is bigger than we thought," Sam said one evening. We were at her apartment, papers spread across her dining table, takeout containers piling up in the kitchen. Lily was with my mother for the night. We are talking about over 24 families. Maybe more. And no one ever stopped her. Because she was smart about it. She never put anything in writing. She always had plausible deniability. But the embezzlement is different. That leaves a paper trail. And once we expose that, everything else becomes credible. I rubbed my eyes. I was exhausted. Between work, motherhood, and this investigation, I was running on fumes. Sam noticed. She always noticed. "Come here," she said softly. I walked around the table to where she was sitting. She pulled me onto her lap and wrapped her arms around me. "You need to rest." "I cannot rest. Not until this is done." "Maya." She turned my face toward hers. "You have been fighting alone for 7 years. Let me carry some of this weight. That is what partners do." Partners. The word sent warmth spreading through my chest. "I do not know how to let someone help me," I admitted. "I have been doing everything myself for so long." "I know. And that is one of the things I love about you. You are the strongest person I have ever met. But strength does not mean you have to do everything alone." I leaned my head against her shoulder. "When did you get so wise?" "Probably around year 3 of being alone in Singapore, wondering why I ever let you go." We sat like that for a while. Just holding each other. Just breathing. "The board meeting is in 3 days, I finally said. Blackwood has no idea what is coming. Are you nervous?" "Terrified. But also ready. For the first time in months, I feel like I have some control over what happens next." Sam kissed my forehead. "You have more than control. You have proof, you have allies, and you have me." Victoria Blackwood thought she was untouchable. She thought she could hurt you without consequences. She was wrong. I smiled against her shoulder. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost? Almost. Then I remember my daughter crying in that auditorium, and the feeling goes away. Sam's arms tightened around me. "She will never hurt Lily again. I promise you that. I believe you." And I did. For the first time in 7 years, I believed that someone had my back. That I was not alone. "There is something else I need to tell you," Sam said quietly. I pulled back to look at her face. "What?" "My company, Rhodes Capital. I have been looking to expand into the education sector. Private schools, specifically. Schools that prioritize diversity and inclusion. Schools that protect vulnerable families instead of targeting them." "Okay." Westbrook Academy is about to need new leadership. And quite possibly new ownership, depending on how the board reacts to the embezzlement charges. I stared at her. You want to buy the school? I want to transform it. I want to create the kind of school that Lily deserves. That all children deserve. A place where no parent ever has to stand in an auditorium and be humiliated for who they are or how they love. Tears pricked at my eyes. Sam, this is not just about revenge, Maya. This is about building something better. Something that matters. I kissed her. Hard. Desperately. Trying to pour all of my gratitude and love and hope into that single point of contact. I love you, I whispered against her lips. The words came out before I could stop them. Before I could overthink them. Sam froze. Then she smiled, the biggest, most beautiful smile I had ever seen. I love you too. I never stopped. The day of the board meeting arrived with gray skies and a cold wind that seemed to cut right through my coat. I stood outside the school administration building, clutching a folder full of evidence, trying to control my breathing. Sam appeared beside me. She was dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, her presence commanding and confident. She looked like a woman who is used to winning. Are you ready? She asked. No. Good. That means you are taking this seriously. She took my hand. Remember, we have the truth on our side. And the truth is devastating. We walked into the building together. The board meeting was being held in the school's main conference room. As we entered, I saw 12 faces turn toward us. 10 board members, Principal Blackwood, and her assistant. Blackwood's expression shifted from confusion to recognition to barely concealed hostility in the span of 3 seconds. Miss Chen, she said coolly. This is a closed board meeting. You are not invited. Actually, Sam stepped forward. I was invited. As a potential major donor to Westbrook Academy, I requested an opportunity to address the board. They agreed. The board chairman, an older man named Richard Wells, nodded. Ms. Rhodes has a standing invitation to any of our meetings. Her family foundation has contributed significantly to education initiatives across the state. Blackwood's face went pale. She clearly had not connected Sam to Rhodes Capital, had not realized the scope of what she was facing. I was not aware that Ms. Rhodes was connected to the Chen family, Blackwood said carefully. There is quite a lot you are not aware of, Principal Blackwood. Sam gestured to me. Maya, would you like to begin? I stepped forward and placed my folder on the conference table. My hands were steadier than I expected. Board members, thank you for allowing me to speak today. As some of you know, 2 weeks ago I was publicly humiliated by Principal Blackwood during a school assembly. She criticized my parenting, she questioned my family values, and she outed my sexual orientation in front of 300 people. All because my 7-year-old daughter accidentally spilled paint. Murmurs rippled through the board members. A few of them shifted uncomfortably in their seats. At first, I thought this was an isolated incident, a personal grudge. But after speaking with other families, I discovered that my experience was far from unique. I opened the folder and began distributing packets to each board member. In these documents, you will find testimony from 23 families who have been targeted by Principal Blackwood over the past 5 years. Single parents, same-sex couples, families with children who have disabilities, families of color. All of them were systematically harassed until they withdrew their children from this school. Blackwood stood up. This is ridiculous. These are baseless accusations from disgruntled parents. Please let Miss Chen finish, Chairman Wells said firmly. I continued. But the harassment was not the worst of it. During our investigation, we discovered something far more serious. I pulled out the financial documents that Sam's team had compiled. Over the past 5 years, Principal Blackwood has embezzled approximately $2.3 million from Westbrook Academy. She falsified expense reports, created fake vendor accounts, and funneled school funds into offshore bank accounts in her name. The room exploded. Board members were talking over each other. Someone was on their phone calling legal counsel. Blackwood was shouting denials while her assistant tried to quietly slip out of the room. Through it all, I stood my ground. Sam stood beside me, solid and unwavering. This is a lie, Blackwood screamed. I have given 15 years to this institution. I will not be slandered by some single mother with an agenda. The evidence does not lie, Principal Blackwood. Sam's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. We have bank records, transaction histories, witness statements from vendors who were pressured to participate in your schemes. Would you like me to continue? Blackwood's face had gone from pale to a disturbing shade of purple. She looked like she might have a stroke right there in the conference room. You cannot do this to me, she hissed. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my husband is? I know exactly who you are, I said quietly. You are a bully. You target people you think cannot fight back. People you think are weak. But you made a mistake when you targeted me and my daughter. I stepped closer to her. We were face to face now. Because I am not weak. And I am not alone. Not anymore. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Police were called to the school within the hour. Blackwood was arrested in the parking lot, still screaming about conspiracies and vendettas. News crews arrived by afternoon, their cameras capturing every moment of the drama. By evening, Westbrook Academy was the top trending story on social media. Parents who had been silent for years were coming forward. Former employees were sharing stories of intimidation and fear. The school's reputation was crumbling in real time. I watched the news coverage from Sam's apartment, Lily asleep in the guest bedroom, my mother on her way over with comfort food. How are you feeling? Sam asked, handing me a cup of tea. Honestly? Numb. I have imagined confronting that woman 100 times. I never imagined it would actually happen. You were incredible today. The way you stood your ground. The way you spoke the truth without flinching. Lily should be very proud of her mother. I looked toward the bedroom where my daughter was sleeping. I did this for her. So she never has to feel the way she felt in that auditorium. So she grows up knowing that people who hurt others face consequences. Sam sat down beside me and took my hand. The board voted to accept Blackwood's immediate termination. They are also launching a full investigation into everyone who enabled her behavior. Several other administrators may face consequences as well. Good. And they accepted my proposal to form an oversight committee for policies related to discrimination and harassment. Any family that feels targeted will have a direct avenue for complaints that bypasses school administration. I turned to look at her. You did that. We did that. Together. My mother arrived with enough food to feed a small army. She hugged me tighter than she had in years. I saw the news, she said. My girl. My brave, strong girl. I could not have done it without help. Mom looked at Sam. Really looked at her. Then she walked over and hugged her too. Thank you for taking care of my daughter and granddaughter. Sam seemed surprised but pleased. It is my honor. We ate together, the three of us, talking about nothing and everything. Planning for the future. Imagining possibilities that had seemed impossible just weeks ago. Later that night, after my mother had gone home and Lily was still sleeping peacefully, Sam and I stood on her balcony, looking out at the city lights. What happens now? I asked. Whatever we want to happen. That is the beautiful thing about this moment. We get to choose. I know what I want. Tell me. I turned to face her. I want to stop being afraid. I want to stop waiting for the other shoe to drop. I want to build a life with you, a real life, not just stolen moments and secret phone calls. I want that too. And I want Lily to have stability. A family. People who love her unconditionally. Sam's eyes were shining. I would be honored to be part of Lily's family. If you will let me. She already adores you. She asked me this morning if you were going to be her other mom. Sam laughed, wiping tears from her cheeks. What did you tell her? I told her that was something we would have to figure out together. As a family. I like the sound of that. She kissed me then, under the stars, with the city spread out beneath us like a map of all our possibilities. It was not like our first kiss, desperate and hungry after years of separation. This kiss was different. Softer. A promise instead of a question. Move in with me, Sam whispered against my lips. It is too soon. I know. I do not care. I laughed. You are impossible. I am determined. There is a difference. Sam, just think about it. That is all I am asking. I looked at her face. At the hope and love written there so clearly. At the woman who had come back for me after 7 years. who had helped me fight the biggest battle of my life, who looked at my daughter like she was precious. Okay, I said. Okay, you will think about it? Okay, I will move in with you. Sam's face broke into the most beautiful smile I had ever seen. She grabbed me and spun me around right there on the balcony, both of us laughing like teenagers. I love you, she said when she finally put me down. I love you so much. I love you too. Now put me down before the neighbors call the police. She did not put me down. Instead, she carried me back inside, kicking the balcony door closed behind her. 6 months later, I stood in the auditorium of Westbrook Academy once again. But this time, everything was different. The school had been transformed. New leadership had implemented sweeping changes in policy and culture. Diversity and inclusion were no longer just buzzwords, but genuine priorities. Sam's foundation had funded a complete renovation of the arts program and established scholarships for families who might not otherwise afford private education. And today was the dedication ceremony for the new Maya Chen Community Center, a space within the school designed for families to gather, support each other, and build connections. Mommy, why is that building named after you? Lily asked, tugging on my hand. I knelt down to her level. Because sometimes when bad things happen, good things can come from them. The mean lady who hurt us is gone now. And in her place, there is this space where no one will ever be made to feel bad about who they are or who they love. Lily nodded solemnly. That is good. I do not want any other kids to feel how I felt. Neither do I, sweetheart. Neither do I. Sam appeared beside us, looking stunning in a simple but elegant dress. She had been giving interviews all morning, explaining Rhodes Capital's commitment to educational equity. Ready for your speech? She asked me. Absolutely not. She laughed and squeezed my hand. You will be amazing. You always are. I walked to the podium feeling the eyes of hundreds of people on me. But this time, those eyes were not judging. They were supporting. They were hoping. Thank you all for being here today, I began. 6 months ago, I stood in this very auditorium and experienced one of the worst moments of my life. I was attacked, humiliated, made to feel that there was something wrong with me and my family. The crowd was silent, listening. But that moment, as painful as it was, became a catalyst for change. It brought me back together with the love of my life. I looked at Sam. It connected me with other families who had similar experiences. It exposed corruption and cruelty that had been hidden for years. And it led to this moment. I gestured to the newly renovated building behind me. This community center is not named after me because I did something heroic. It is named after me because I refused to stay silent. Because I said enough is enough. And because I learned that we are all stronger when we stand together. I paused, gathering my thoughts. To every parent out there who has been told they are not good enough. To every family that has been targeted for being different. To every child who has been made to feel ashamed of who they are or who their parents are. I see you. I believe you. And I stand with you. Applause erupted through the auditorium. I saw tears on many faces. I felt tears on my own. After the ceremony, as the crowd mingled and refreshments were served, a woman approached me. She was probably in her 50s, with kind eyes and graying hair. Miss Chen? My name is Patricia Blackwood. I froze. The same last name as Victoria. Victoria is my sister-in-law, the woman continued. I wanted to apologize on behalf of our family. What she did to you and the other families was inexcusable. She has needed help for a long time, and our family failed to see it. I was not sure what to say. Victoria is receiving treatment now. She will likely face criminal charges for the embezzlement. But I wanted you to know that not everyone in our family shares her views. My son is gay. I have seen firsthand the damage that intolerance can cause. She reached out and took my hand. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for speaking up. You have made this school better. You have made this community better. I squeezed her hand. Thank you for telling me that. It means more than you know. After she left, Sam found me standing alone near the refreshment table. Everything okay? Yeah, just processing. The speech was perfect. I meant every word. Sam slipped her arm around my waist. I know. That is what made it perfect. Lily ran up to us, face covered in chocolate frosting from the celebratory cake. Mama Sam, can we go to the park after this? I looked at Sam. Mama Sam. Lily had started using that name a few weeks ago. Every time I heard it, my heart grew 3 sizes. Of course we can, Sam said, wiping frosting from Lily's cheek. As soon as the party is over. Lily cheered and ran off to find more cake. She is going to crash so hard tonight, I observed. Worth it. I leaned into Sam's embrace, watching my daughter run through the crowd, happy and carefree. Watching families I did not even know laughing and connecting in a space that existed because I had refused to back down. I could not have imagined this, I said softly. 6 months ago, I was alone and terrified. And now you have everything you deserve. I have everything I need. 1 year after the board meeting that changed everything, Sam asked me to go for a walk. Just a walk. I asked suspiciously. You never just want to go for a walk. I want to enjoy the evening with my beautiful girlfriend. Is that a crime? It is suspicious. She laughed and grabbed my hand. Come on. Lily is with your mom. We have a few hours to ourselves. Let us not waste them. We walked through our neighborhood, past the coffee shop where we had reunited a year ago, past the park where Sam had first met Lily, past all the places that had become ours over the past 12 months. Living together had been an adjustment. Combining 2 independent lives into one shared space was never easy. But we had made it work. Sam had learned to function on less sleep because Lily was an early riser. I had learned to communicate my needs instead of shutting down when I was overwhelmed. We had both learned that love was not just a feeling, but a choice you make every single day. Remember when you asked me what I was building in Singapore? Sam said as we walked. You said you were building an empire. I was wrong. I looked at her questioningly. I was not building an empire. I was building a nest egg. Security. I was preparing for the day when I would finally have something worth protecting. Someone worth protecting. Sam, let me finish. She stopped walking and turned to face me. I spent 7 years working toward a future I could not even imagine. But now I can imagine it. I can see it clearly. And it looks like you, Maya. It looks like Lily. It looks like Sunday mornings with pancakes and Friday nights watching movies and every ordinary moment that we turn into something extraordinary. My heart was pounding. I suddenly understood why she had wanted to go for a walk. Sam reached into her pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Oh my God. I have been carrying this around for 2 months, trying to find the perfect moment. But then I realized that there is no perfect moment. There is just now. There is just us. She opened the box. Inside was a beautiful ring, simple and elegant, exactly what I would have chosen for myself. Maya Chen, you are the strongest, bravest, most incredible woman I have ever known. You make me want to be better. You make me believe in things I had given up on. You gave me a family when I thought I would never have one. She got down on one knee right there on the sidewalk. Will you marry me? I was crying. I could not have stopped the tears if I tried. Yes. Yes, of course yes. Sam slid the ring onto my finger, then stood up and kissed me. People were stopping on the sidewalk to watch. Someone was clapping. None of it mattered. Nothing mattered except this woman, this moment, this beginning. I love you, I said between kisses. I love you too. Always have. Always will. We need to tell Lily. She already knows. What? Sam grinned. I asked her permission last week. She made me promise that she could be the flower girl. I laughed and cried at the same time. Of course she did. We walked home hand in hand, my ring catching the light of the street lamps. I kept looking at it, still not quite believing that this was real. That after everything I had been through, I had found this kind of happiness. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. She said yes, didn't she? Lily has been waiting by the window for an hour. I laughed and showed Sam the message. Your mother is something else. She loves you. The feeling is mutual. When we got home, Lily was indeed waiting by the window. The moment we walked through the door, she launched herself at us. Did you ask her? Did she say yes? Can I see the ring? I showed her the ring. Her eyes went wide. It is so sparkly. Do you approve? Sam asked seriously. Lily nodded solemnly. Yes. But you have to promise to take care of Mommy forever. I promise. And you have to let me pick my own flower girl dress. Within reason. Lily considered this. Okay, deal. She held out her tiny hand. Sam shook it formally. Welcome to the family, Lily announced. Officially. I watched the two people I loved most in the world seal their deal with a handshake, and I felt something I had not felt in a very long time. We got married on a perfect autumn day, 6 months after the proposal. The venue was a small garden outside the city, surrounded by trees that were just beginning to turn red and gold. Sam had wanted to have the ceremony at the new community center at Westbrook Academy, as a symbol of everything we had overcome. But I wanted something smaller, more intimate. Just the people who mattered most. My mother walked me down the aisle. She was crying before we even started moving. I am so proud of you, she whispered. Your father would be so proud of you. I squeezed her arm, feeling the absence of my father who had passed away when I was in college. But I also felt his presence. I liked to think he was watching. Sam waited for me at the altar, looking absolutely stunning in a fitted white suit. She was crying too. Everyone was crying. I should have invested in waterproof mascara. Lily stood beside Sam as the flower girl, wearing the dress she had picked out herself. It was purple and sparkly and absolutely perfect. The ceremony was simple but meaningful. We wrote our own vows. Sam went first. Maya, I spent 7 years building a life without you. I built a company. I built wealth. I built success by every measure society cares about. But none of it meant anything because none of it included you. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I let you go. And I have spent every day since trying to make up for it. I promise to love you fiercely and completely. I promise to support your dreams and protect your heart. I promise to be the partner you deserve, even when I fall short. I promise to never leave again. Then it was my turn. Sam, when you came back into my life, I was scared. I had built walls so high that I thought no one could ever get through them. But you did not try to get through them. You just stood there, patient and steady, until I was ready to take them down myself. You taught me that strength does not mean doing everything alone. You showed me that it is okay to trust, to hope, to love without holding back. I promise to be your partner in everything. I promise to let you in, even when it is hard. I promise to build a life with you, one ordinary, extraordinary day at a time. I promise that wherever we go from here, we go together. We exchanged rings. We kissed while our guests cheered. Lily ran up and threw her arms around both of us, making it an official family hug right there at the altar. The reception was small but joyful. Dancing and laughter and speeches that made me cry all over again. My mother gave a toast that had everyone reaching for tissues. Even some of the former Westbrook families who had become our close friends over the past year were there, celebrating with us. At some point during the evening, Maria Santos found me near the dessert table. I never thanked you properly, she said. For what you did. For speaking up. My boys are thriving at their new school. They would not be there if you had not taken down Victoria Blackwood. You would have done the same thing. I do not know. I was scared. We all were. But you showed us that fear does not have to stop you. She hugged me, and I hugged her back. Later, as the reception wound down and guests began to leave, Sam found me standing at the edge of the dance floor, watching Lily spin in circles to the music. Happy? She asked. Deliriously. Good. She wrapped her arms around me from behind. Because this is only the beginning. The beginning of what? Everything. Our life together. Really together. With legal paperwork and matching rings and a daughter who is going to be insufferable now that she has 2 moms who both spoil her. I laughed. She is already insufferable. We love her anyway. We do. We stood there together, watching our daughter dance, listening to the music fade as the night grew late. My ring caught the light of the fairy lights strung through the garden. Sam's arms were warm around me. 1 year ago, I had been alone and terrified, standing in an auditorium being publicly humiliated. Now I had a wife, a daughter, a community, a future. Life is strange. It takes you through valleys so dark you think you will never see light again. And then, suddenly, you are standing in a garden surrounded by people who love you, married to your soulmate, watching your daughter spin in circles of pure joy. Hey, Sam whispered in my ear. Hey yourself. Thank you. For what? For saying yes. For letting me back in. For giving me everything I never knew I wanted. I turned in her arms and kissed her. Soft and slow and full of promise. Thank you for coming back for me. I would come back for you 1,000 times. That is very romantic. I have my moments. We walked off the dance floor together, hand in hand, to collect our daughter and start our new life. 5 years later, I stood in the auditorium of Westbrook Academy once again. The school had changed beyond recognition. Under new leadership and with continued support from the Rhodes Foundation, it had become a model for inclusive education. Schools across the country were studying the Westbrook approach and implementing similar policies. Victoria Blackwood had served 2 years in prison for embezzlement. I heard she had moved to another state after her release. I did not think about her much anymore. She had lost her power over me a long time ago. Today was the school's annual community celebration. Families gathered to recognize achievements, share resources, and build the kinds of connections that made a real difference in children's lives. Lily was 12 now. She sat in the audience with her best friend, both of them trying to look bored while sneaking glances at the dessert table. Sam stood beside me at the podium, our hands intertwined. In the past 5 years, we had built something incredible together. The Rhodes Foundation had expanded its education initiatives to 12 states. We had advocated for policy changes at the state and national level. We had helped countless families navigate systems that were stacked against them. And most importantly, we had raised a remarkable daughter. Thank you all for being here, I said into the microphone. 5 years ago, I stood in this auditorium feeling small and ashamed. I was made to believe that there was something wrong with my family. Something wrong with who I am and who I love. I paused, looking out at the sea of faces. Some were familiar. Some were new. But today, I stand here surrounded by proof that love is never wrong. That families come in all shapes and sizes. That children thrive when they are supported and accepted for exactly who they are. Sam squeezed my hand. The world has changed so much in the past 5 years. But we have so much further to go. There are still children in schools being told that their families are not real families. There are still parents being humiliated and excluded because they do not fit someone else's definition of normal. There are still policies and practices that make vulnerable people more vulnerable. I looked at Lily, my daughter, our daughter. She was watching me with fierce pride in her eyes. But I believe in the power of ordinary people to create extraordinary change. I believe in the power of speaking up, even when your voice shakes. I believe in the power of standing together, shoulder to shoulder, refusing to accept cruelty as normal. I turned to Sam. And I believe in love. The kind of love that crosses oceans and survives years of separation. The kind of love that sees you at your weakest and stays anyway. The kind of love that builds a family, one ordinary, extraordinary day at a time. Sam was crying. I was crying. Half the audience was crying. So today, as we celebrate everything this community has accomplished, let us also recommit to the work ahead. Let us promise to be the adults who protect children instead of targeting them. Let us promise to create spaces where every family belongs. Let us promise to never stop fighting for a world where no parent ever has to stand alone. The applause was deafening. After the ceremony, after the handshakes and hugs and photos, Sam and I walked through the garden behind the school with Lily running ahead of us. Good speech, Sam said. I was inspired by my wife. Your wife is pretty inspiring. She is. Though she would be more inspiring if she helped with the dishes more often. Sam laughed and pulled me close. I will work on that. Lily circled back to us, her face bright with excitement. Mom, can we get ice cream on the way home? Which mom are you asking? I responded. Both of you. I am being strategic. Sam and I exchanged looks. Smart kid, Sam observed. She gets it from me, I said. Debatable. Lily grabbed both of our hands, pulling us toward the parking lot. Come on, you guys can argue about whose jeans are better while we drive. I want the ice cream place that has the weird flavors. We let ourselves be pulled along, our daughter between us, the setting sun painting everything gold. 5 years ago, a principal tried to destroy me. She tried to make me feel worthless and alone. She tried to take away my dignity in front of everyone. Instead, she gave me the catalyst I needed to find my voice, to find my partner, to find my purpose. I would not change a single thing. "Hey," Sam said softly as we reached the car. "What are you thinking about?" "How grateful I am. For all of it. Even the hard parts." Sam kissed my temple. "Me too." Lily made gagging noises from the back seat. "Can you guys be gross after we get ice cream, please?" We laughed and got in the car, our little family, ready for whatever came next.